Well, welcome back to another episode of the New Adam podcast with Man in the Mirror. We also want to remind you, those of you that are returning listeners, to go check out maninthemirror.org. All types of resources there for you, things to read, things to listen to, things to watch. And if you're interested in finding men's discipleship in your area, we have a way for you to find a local area director also. But it's that time of year, Brett. We are about 6 weeks in, and we do have to wonder, are you confident in the Patriots even making the playoffs? What are they, 6-2?
6-2, man.
No, it's week 8. Yeah.
Yeah, week 8. They're like tied for the second or third best record in the entire NFL. Yeah, I think they're playoff bound.
We could do a whole podcast on, was Belichick or Brady the source of the wins?
It'd be a short podcast, Brady.
Okay.
But Belichick had everybody else doing. So
yeah. Man, there's a story there of a man that gets within, like, what was he, within 15 wins of the all-time win record.
So yeah,
some like, does it really matter? He's now in his that kind of, there's so many stories there. Well, I'm a Bucks fan. Pretty famously, I always talk about it. I'm wearing a jersey now. We're in the same boat where we're really good. Our record is really good, but we're going, I think we're good. Like, we are we good? Like, and you just don't quite know. But anyway, as long as it's not the Chiefs, I think we'll be fine.
I'm with you.
Well, today we wanted to start talking about, spend multiple times talking about homeschooling.
Yeah.
It's funny because homeschooling was, it came on my radar for the first time 2001. It seemed so crazy back then. It was just funny because now it's so normal. Yeah. It just seemed like why? What were the? Now I think people are a lot more tuned in. But you were looking to be a homeschool parent and dad around those 2000s years. What led you there? Like, what was your thinking?
Yeah, my wife's sister homeschooled, and when we got married, my wife said to me, like, hey, there's a couple things you need to know about me, and one of them is that I will never homeschool our children. I just want to head out front. So I jokingly tell people there's an entry in the dictionary, like, woman least likely to homeschool her children, and there's a picture of my wife right there.
Okay.
And so we really didn't really have a plan to homeschool. So our daughter, Cassidy, is our first one, and she came time for her to go to kindergarten, and off she went. And like the second or third week of school, we went to they had like a open house, for the parents. And so we went and we walked into the classroom, and we're like, it's like a 2-hour like open house. And so we were there maybe an hour into it is when we got there. And her teacher was this wonderful, wonderful lady, and all the kids, like every desk had like a stack of like their little work on it, like 6 or 7 things that she was going to show us. And so we walked in like an hour in, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. And I love Cassidy and blah, blah, blah. And here's her work that she did. And so we talked for about 15 or 20 minutes. And I realized that like no other parents were coming in. Like there were no other parents. And so we just kept talking, and another 10 minutes goes by, another 10 minutes goes by. So now we're like an hour and 45 minutes into it. And I looked at her and I said, did any parents come in before us? And she said, no. And so we stayed until the end because as much as anything, I was curious. And no other parents showed up.
Wow.
And so that was like my first indication, like, this is, first of all, I can't imagine what this teacher went through. And
yeah.
And we loved her. And then about a week or two after that, my daughter came home and she looked at me after dinner and she said, Daddy? And I said, yes, Cassidy. She said, what's a mother effer? Except she didn't say F. And I said, what? And she said, what's that? I'm like, no. I heard you the first time. Like, that's a grown-up word. We don't use that when we're.
That's a dad word. Only daddy uses that word.
Yeah. And I'm like, where did you hear that? Expecting it to be like, well, mom, when she was driving. Just kidding. And she said, oh, I heard it at school from one of the other kids. So
Yeah.
like, you heard this in kindergarten?
Yeah, so there's some real value there, yeah.
Yeah, and so I said something to my wife about it, and I don't remember the exact, decision making process, but we very quickly came to the conclusion that what, we just need to homeschool. We're gonna try to homeschool. So we did a really I call it hybrid homeschooling. Like we didn't do a pure homeschool. My wife never set up like a classroom in the home, and like tried to have school at home. We homeschooled, and every year we would sort of sit down in March and we would figure out what we were going to do the following year. So our daughter went to public school in kindergarten, and then again she wanted to try it again, so she did it in 6th grade for middle school.
She had to round out her curse words.
Yeah, and so in middle, so she's in 6th grade, and she's a month or two maybe into school, and she had 2 class projects that she was working on, and so we lived really close to the middle school, so both the groups of girls would meet at our house. And so in one of the classes was just a regular class, and the other one was like an advanced class, like a gifted class. And so for the regular class, I was curious, and so there's like 3 or 4 girls at our house, and so I said, hey, I'm really, tell me about yourselves, girls, and tell me where do you live, and tell me your parents' names, and Cassidy was the only one that had a dad.
Wow.
And then the gifted class, I asked them the same questions, and all but one of the girls had a dad. So I was like, wow, I don't, this isn't like any academically rigorous research here, but it is striking to see that, that the gifted class, all the families were mostly intact, and in the regular class they were not. And
the research is clear on all that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that was 6th grade, and then she did it again in 11th grade, and she's a glutton for punishment. She hated it every time she did it. And
I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot.
She didn't care, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but I hear like, oh, somebody goes back. They're like, no, I'm tired of being home. And they go back. They're like, I hate this. Like, I forgot how bad.
Yeah. So my son was 2 years behind her in school, and he did 9th grade when she did 11th grade. They decided they'd go to high school together.
Okay.
And they were like, and it was one of the top ranked high schools in our district. And they both said, like, a few weeks into school, like, this is stupid. Like, we spend 20 to 25% of our time at school actually doing school.
Oh, it's very small. Yeah.
And the rest of it is like going from class to class, going to assemblies, listening to announcements, listening to a teacher answer some other student's question that I don't have, or dealing with discipline issues. And so they both just came home, and we did a charter school a couple times, a couple of years. That was a great experience. We did like the 2-day a week school where they'd go 2 days a week in our classes, and then they would give them the work for the rest of the week. And we've had school on the alternate days. So that was kind of what we liked the most, because my wife was really uncomfortable, like, trying to figure out curriculum. So
that's a hard challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a way that, like, we got the curriculum, and then we did the schooling. So yeah, we just sort of took it year by year, and I loved having the kids at home. For most of that, I lived maybe less than 10 minutes. My office was less than 10 minutes from home.
Yeah. So let's stop. Let's tease that out. What's the role of the father? Because, like, you do hear a lot of moms talking about it.
Sure.
And a lot of mom support in homeschooling is things like curriculum choice. Yeah. How do you set up your rhythms? Like all the questions, all the nurturing questions. Yeah. Dads are usually not going. I mean, I'm not saying dads are uninvolved, but where did you find, as the father, as the husband, where was your biggest asset in in homeschooling and from start to finish? Like, where were you
Yeah.
best?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I was the disciplinary dean. There were discipline issues. If somebody didn't want to listen to mom that day, might take a phone call from me, or I might drop by at lunchtime and say what's going on, and that usually solved it.
Do you have a paddle on the wall? Did you have a paddle up on the wall just like the old days?
No, I didn't. I didn't do that. But luckily my kids were, just my presence was enough to.
Oh yeah.
Say, all right, Dad actually came home. We should probably not continue this. But they were pretty good.
Yeah.
The other thing is that like I had subject matter. I had subjects that I was better at. So math and science was more me.
Okay.
And and so they would often say math stuff for me to help them go over.
What would you say to somebody who just says, "I stink at everything"? Like, or maybe that's the self-impression,
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jeff Foxworthy thing, right? Like, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I mean, most of us, especially when they're young,
Yeah.
I used to tell my wife, you don't have to know everything about everything. You just have to know a little more than they do. So
it's true. My kids have only my two high schoolers have only recently started to go beyond me. I'm very terrible at math, and they're now only in freshman junior years, leaving me in the dust.
Yeah.
But for people that have had unlike me, I'm very inadequate in math. For people that have more basic knowledge of math, they would still be on point. Yeah, it's not as scary.
Yeah, and I do think like for us having the like 1 day a week or 2 day a week place that we could go and get help was good. The other thing that we did is that we knew a lot of other homeschool families. So they were off, if Kimberly really was stuck on something, she had a support system that she could call on and get some help. And these days with everything, with all the online stuff that you can get, I mean,
yeah, YouTube alone, yeah,
Khan Academy and YouTube and.
Well, that's what I think. I think curriculum wise, we're in like the golden age for and it's only going to get better with not that AI is the savior, but just the access we have to well written content. Going back to the whys though.
Yeah.
In my case, we did not homeschool. They're still in public school. Here's what I've always noticed is the homeschool choice. There is an initial fork in the road.
Yeah.
And there's two sides of the homeschool world. There's the side that is far more secular, sacred. Like we need kids not to be in secular. It's the secular school itself that almost it's just being there. It's right. Like it's kind of like and we're not talking about that. We're talking about more the conversation, which is where you were describing, which is the situation we're in right now just isn't the best. And I'm thinking about our listeners. That it could be anything from where, like you're saying, we're in a place where it seems like the kids don't have dads, and there's not a lot of support, and no parents are showing up, and there's that problem. And then you have other places where it might be hostile to anyone who's Christian.
Yeah.
Or you just, so it's everything from it's lagging behind and I don't want my kids to lag, or if my kids go there, they might get told that, they're a Nazi or a bigot, just for existing. And, long story short, down that road is where I think a lot of people have started to find themselves, is going like, it seems like education's falling apart or it's out to get you. And, but the curriculum part is amazing. I really do feel for parents like you back in the day that were like, well, we're just going to try this. Hopefully it works. Were there any drawbacks? Like what would you say were the things that, we didn't have that, but that's okay.
I think, I think the biggest thing is that for Kimberly, for my wife, was she just never got a break. Because you can't just, I don't feel great today, the kids are going to be at school, I can just sort of lounge around, or I can take an extra nap or something, because the kids were always there. And that was mostly when they were little, because when they're little, they need constant prodding and helping. I think, also I think it has a lot to do with the personality of your kids, because each of our children were also very different from each other. My daughter was the kind of kid that, not to brag, both my kids were smart. Like the test showed that they were both very smart. And, but it was interesting because my son tested smarter than my daughter did. The person that did the testing said, your daughter will always get good grades because she will outwork everybody. And she's like, I saw that in her personality. Like there were questions on the test that I give her that are designed for her not to be able to answer them. Like it's just too hard. And she's like, she would not let it go. She kept asking me questions, and I'm not supposed to help at all. But she just kept asking me questions and kept asking me questions and because she wanted to get it,
Yeah.
Whereas my son would be like, my son would probably be more like, oh, I bet you there's a couple questions on this test I'm not supposed to be able to do. This must be one of them. And then he would just move on. Like he's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
Perfectly happy.
Yeah. So Jackson, my son was very much a deadline is a deadline. Like up until the very last second before that deadline, it's not late.
Yep.
And that carried over into college for him too. Like he always
all-nighters.
Just got stuff in. Or I remember him telling me a couple times about how he sweet talked a professor into letting him turn something in late. I'm like, well, what reason did you give them? He's like, I didn't lie to them. I just said I didn't get it done yet. And I'm like, you're crazy. Like you're just such a schmoozer,
Yeah.
So anyway, so my son needed constant prodding. My daughter, you needed to explain it to her and then let her go. And then she would just go work. And if she had questions, she'd come back and ask,
Yeah. So it does tune you in more to your kids' personalities.
Yeah, very much so. They're every kid's learning style is different, right? So
did homeschooling lead to any more stress or tension in the marriage from time to time? Like how did you resolve that? I mean, if she's getting no reprieve, no burnout in the homeschool mom can happen. What
sure.
How did you guys handle your marriage? Because marriage first, homeschool second. So how did you all handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, the benefits outweighed the costs. So for instance, just because she never got a break, that was a negative thing. But then the positive thing was, like, we never had to worry about taking them out of school. If we wanted to go do something, we just did it. And then we just bring the work with us. And, we
picnics.
Picnics and my wife learned how to, she had really good support. She had a really good support system from other homeschool moms.
Yeah.
So like they'd turn going to the grocery store into a math lesson, or they would turn everything into some kind of a lesson. And so for us, it really didn't cause stress between us. And I had to work to help my wife like not feel stressed. Like, hey, if they don't get to it today, that's the beauty of homeschooling.
Yeah.
Like we'll get to it. We'll get to it later. Or if it has to wait until I get home, just wait until I get home, and then I'll go over it with them. We don't have to be stressed out about it. So I think in the grand scheme, it actually decreased the stress in our house because we're on our schedule, not a school system's schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I always joke, deep down, I feel like every homeschool mom just wants to have at least one experience where it feels like the Sound of Music. You're out on bikes, just teaching them about life as you go.
Like, you're making clothes from curtains.
Yeah, come on, that's at least somewhere in their head. Like I would do that in a heartbeat, kind of thing. How would your kids say, not to put words in their mouth, but how would your kids say they responded or felt during that process?
I think my kids loved it. They were.
Did they share the whys that you and your wife had? Like, did they understand the whys, or was it just something they were doing?
I think as they got older, they understood it. And I think honestly, like that year that they both went to high school together, I think they were like, without us even having to say anything, they were like, oh, now I understand why homeschool's so great. Like this is so different being in a system with just so much built-in nonsense,
Oh yeah.
And then, on top of that, for me, I remember I remember they had a parents' night before high school started,
Yeah.
and so this is the thing that infuriated me the most, and any public school teachers watching this are going to hate us after this. Like the the worldview, the educational philosophy of the public school teachers, at least here in Florida, was your parents are stupid, teachers are smart. We know how to educate your children better than you do. And so don't question us. Don't argue with us. Just do it the way that we tell your kids to do it.
Mm.
And I personally found that just infuriating. Like, I don't care if you say, look, I've learned how to do this and I'll answer your questions, but it was just such an arrogance from the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was 10, 15 years ago. I think it's probably only gotten worse
that was my next comment was, I think it's the intensity's probably gone up. And I think the things that they try to shove, like that they think the things they think parents are stupid about is only increased as well.
Right.
Yeah. And there was the famous case that just got solved earlier this year of parents being told they're not allowed to have any opinion on the curriculum in Virginia, I think it was, and they lost. Like the state lost. It was like, of course, the parents have to know what the curriculum is. Yeah, and I think that's what's good.
The other thing I would add is like the whole gender stuff now, and actually, I think we're on the other side of that. I hope, but the whole there's just I mean, I just the idea of social contagion and like a group of popular kids, it doesn't have to be gender, it could be anything. Like they believe anything.
Yep.
And everybody starts thinking, well, that must be true because this, these 2 or 3 popular kids.
And it becomes also the reaction to it becomes, because not only do you have people saying like, oh, that must be true. You have people saying like almost violently saying like, no, this is not true. And like, this is so wrong. So you get this like swirling like fight that goes on.
Yeah.
And but you're right. I mean, it's like, it is. I'm still marveling that for 4 years, it seems like no one stopped talking about gender. And my kids were saying it was just always coming up. And but like, and just think about that difference. Your experience about, are we going to homeschool? Had a very good set of fears and questions.
Yeah.
Now those questions are only elevated, and
I'll tell you the other thing, like the place that you are, like the physical location you are. Like my sister-in-law homeschooled in Connecticut, which was very antagonistic towards homeschooling. In Florida, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people homeschooling their kids.
Oh yeah.
So there's such a network of resources available to you. There's so many different options. I mean, there's people that say that you actually never homeschooled your kids because we used outside help for things.
Oh,
like there's like a homeschool snobbery, in the.
Oh yeah, that's the Sound of Music, folks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, I was gonna say Little House on the Prairie.
Or Little House. Yeah.
So they went to school, but it doesn't have to be this rustic. Completely make it up on your own kind of thing. There's so much help that a family can get now.
No, I think you're going to be putting. If the point is to prepare your kids better, you're actually putting your kids at a disadvantage, not catching them up on modern technology and where things are going. Not that they all have to be computer coders, but it's funny. There's a local co-op or a, I don't know if that's the word, but it is a school, but it's mainly kids who come in and out of the homeschooling life, and it's run by a church, and great experience here.
Yeah,
and
co-ops. Yeah,
co-ops. Okay, I think that's what they're called. Yeah. One of the interesting things that there is that the like I said, the relationships amongst all the people doing it has been one of the more interesting things because
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
the social aspect is probably one of the more was I say I think it's much less so now, but it was a much trickier time back in the day. Like you felt
Yeah,
kind of more on your own.
absolutely. And I would just say to dads, to young dads, like it's it's a great opportunity for you to be more engaged in your kids' education. And also it gives you like some of the families that we did that are, Kimberly had the deepest relationships with the other families in the area that were doing it, and that she was, they get 5 families together and go do the fire department field trip together, just like you would do at school, except it
Yeah,
was 5 homeschool families, or the museum trip or the space center trip. And that was even better for me because she would be like, "Hey, we're doing this. Do you want to go?" And I'd be like, I'd go to work and I'd be like, "Hey, can I have the afternoon? The kids are going to the art museum and I
yeah.
want to go with them." And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure. Go to the art museum with your kids." And
You cannot
I would
underestimate
go on a
that for
field trip.
dads.
Yeah, if they were on a school field trip, now maybe I could sign up to chaperone, but it would
Mhm.
be like me and 50 kids that I don't know.
Yeah,
Whereas what this was, I got a chance to be a part of this community with other people's kids that I knew, and I also knew their parents, and so their parents were also having input into my kids' lives, and who the I knew the woman who was like really into fine arts and would do she'd get all the kids to do a scene from Annie or something,
sure.
and the dad that was mechanically minded and taught the kids how to change tires and change oil. And I mean,
Yeah,
it was such a nice community opportunity for me as a man, as a dad, to be
yeah.
engaged with other people that believed what I believed and wanted the same light for their kids that I did.
You're absolutely right, though. The dads need to see themselves as if they really want to take their kids seriously. Yeah, do more in terms of kids' education. I always got to go back to history, and we are really among the first generations to not teach our kids side by side with us as dads.
Yeah,
Like it used to be, we're a craftsman, come along, kids, like
absolutely.
that kind of thing, apprentice
Yeah,
thing, or farmers. All right, son, let's go out and like do what we're doing. And your daughters would work with mom and the wives, and then the women, not the wives.
right.
The generational women. Um, but now the stereotypical American is dad comes home like it's almost dark. How was school, kids?
Yeah,
Dinner
exactly.
ready?
Let
That
me
is
see your report
actually
card.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that is actually abnormal. That's not how kids have ever been raised by dads ever. It's always been more like Simba and his dad. It's more like, come along, son, I'll show you like the way. And the more you can get in, and that's homeschooling gives that back to dads. Like it gives them the opportunity. Yeah, hold them up. I guess Simba dies. So
absolutely.
Simba's dad dies.
I was I was way I was way more involved with my kids, I think, um, than most dads were,
Yeah.
and homeschool really made that possible.
COVID gave that back to me, that awareness, because it was just like,
Mm.
wow, there's a lot like, yeah, I could have easily been, because my kids are straight A students. It's easy to be like, oh, they're fine. They're doing great. And they are.
Right.
But being involved with it, getting involved, talking, all those conversations wouldn't happen if I wasn't involved. And but with homeschooling, it's much easier, and it is more holistic. One of the local co-ops just started up a class called Adulting. It's Adulting 101. It's a great class because it's just like, how do you open a bank account? How do you change a tire? Like all the things that everyone should know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I saw that title and I thought, that's dumb. Why would you fill time with that? But no,
Yeah.
it's they're filling real needs. This is how you grow up and be an adult.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would have done differently along the way?
Oh, wow. I think, I think if I could go back and do it, I might have like picked a subject to be my subject with the kids,
Okay.
and just sort of owned that. It was hard. I was in a job that I had to travel sometimes, and so that does make it a little bit more difficult if you're not going to be around for a few days and everything stops in that topic. But no, I mean, I really look back on it, and I think probably could have helped with my son a little bit more in instilling some better habits in him. Like he got by, like because he was so smart, he got away with everything. And I think he's now he's an adult, and he's already recognized the limitations of that approach. And so luckily he's self-corrected, but maybe that, but no, it was a great experience. And we got just the right amount of support for what Kimberly wanted to do, what my wife wanted to do. And I loved it. I loved it.
Last question. And was there any one tradition or, habit you guys did as a homeschool family that you could, you just feel like that was a lot of fun?
I mean,
or any one thing you did that you just like, that was so much fun. I would have done that otherwise.
Yeah. I don't know about tradition, but, I do think like really working hard to go do things and, to go with them on as many of those things as I could. Again, I had a job with a lot of flexibility, so that was really helpful for me. But yeah, I just think like it's back to this old thing about time, quality versus quantity on time. Yeah. And what I feel like if I could have done anything better, not that it was a big gaping thing, but also my favorite thing was just getting to spend the time with them and to be engaged in their lives, and not like leave the house in the morning, know that somebody else is responsible for them for for 7 or 8 hours, and then I show up at the end of the day and get really all they're going to tell you is first of all, what they think you want to hear.
Right.
And what they're not going to share the bad stuff or the sad stuff, really.
Or the sad, yeah, usually not. Particularly about high school, yeah.
Yeah, and so we just got to experience all that right up close.